Hello friends, in today's video we will learn about very important topic sampling. So as you know, sampling is a part of inferential statistics. There is two type of statistics in our statistic, inferential statistics and descriptive statistics. Descriptive statistics means from all data set we make a powerful summarization with the help of measure of central tendency like mean, median and mode, and measure of dispersion like standard deviation, variance and skewness and kurtosis. So in our today's video, we'll learn about inferential statistics. So in inferential statistics, our first topic is sampling. So sampling is the process of selecting a subset sample from a larger population to make inferences about the whole. As you can see in a picture also. So in a picture, like a Coca-Cola company. So in a world, all people take a Coca-Cola cold drink. So for a Coca-Cola company, it's not possible to take review of a all customer and make decision. So what Coca-Cola company do? Coca-Cola companies basically use sample, and on the basis of sample, they make a decision. Decision like what our total sales, what our total profit. So instead of million trillion data, he make a sampling, and in a sampling he take only 100 and 200 data, and on the basis of that data they make a prediction. Okay, so as you can see in a second example also, like a population, there is all population, and from that population we take some sample. So it's our sampling. And in second topic we learn about types of sampling. So there is four type of sampling used in statistics. First is simple random sampling. Simple random sampling is basically every member has an equal chance of being selected. If I give an example, like in a school, I only select 10 students from 100. So all 100 students have an equal chance of selection. So it's a basically simple random sampling, and it's a very easy sampling technique. And in today's video, we'll done simple random sampling in our Python, and we use also central limit theorem. We will discuss about also central limit theorem. So how that our sample is effective, like a full sample. So we'll learn about that. Then second sampling technique is basically systematic sampling. Systematic sampling is basically follow a gap. Like if I select randomly first student, then I take a gap of 10. Like after first I select 10 student, then I after 10 I select 20 roll number student, then 20 roll after 20 I select 30 roll number student. So I follow a systematic gap between student. So that type of sampling is basically systematic sampling. Then third is basically very important sampling technique is a stratified sampling. So stratified sampling is basically it's make a group, and on the basis of group we select some sample from that. So if I give an example, like as you can see department column in a table. So in a department there is many type of department, like a HR department, sales department, finance department and analytics department. And from all department I select five employee, and on the basis of that we make a sampling. So that type of sampling is basically a stratified sampling. So as you can see in the image also, like this green one is HR department. From HR department I select only 4 employee, and this one is sales department. From sales department I select 4, and this is finance and this is analytics. So this type of sampling is basically a stratified sampling. Then last sampling technique is basically cluster sampling. Cluster sampling is also like a stratified sampling, but stratified sampling we use only with a categorical column, and cluster sampling we use with a numerical column also. Like if I talk about age, like as you can see in the image, first cluster I made, cluster is also a group. So first cluster I made on the basis of age, like 0 to 18. Then second cluster I made 18 to 40. Third one I made 40 to 60, and last one I made above 60. So in a all age group there is all type of people comes. So that type of sampling is under cluster sampling. Okay. So it's our types of sampling. And in today's video we'll learn about only simple random sampling in our Python, and we use a practical way how is used. We'll learn about that. Then our third topic is basically central limit theorem. It's a very important theorem, because if I make a sample, so how we know about that our sample is effective or not? If our sample is not effective and I made some decision from that sample, like profit and other thing, so this that thing is very not useful for a company, because our sample is not perfect. So how we can take a decision like our sample is good or not? So that thing is depend upon three theorem, central limit theorem. So first theorem is basically the sample means is distributed normal. means we need a normal distribution of data, and sample size should be greater than equal to 30, and we need to take sample size greater than and equal to 30, and data is normally distributed. Normally distributed is basically, I see in a graph. So as you can see in a graph, it's a normal distributed data. That middle line is basically mean, and all mean, median and mode approx equal in that particular line. And it's a well-shaped curve. Left and right part are both equally distributed. And third important thing is basically data does not have any outliers. As you can see, it's a normal distribution curve. So it means data does not have any outliers. That's why it's a normally distributed. So it's our first theorem. First theorem is basically data should be normally distributed and sample size we need to take greater than equal to 30. Then we go with our second theorem. Second theorem is basically said our sample mean is approx equal with our population mean. It means we have a all data set, and on the basis of all data set we create a mean from that. And second, we have a sample data set, and we take a mean from sample data set also. Then we compare both, and if that difference from sample mean and original mean is very approx equal, so we say that yeah, it's our sample is very accurate. But if there is a huge difference between that, so we cannot accept that sample, we go with another sample. So it's basically our second theorem. And third theorem is basically it's our sample mean is equal to actual means population mean divided by square root of number of sample. Like if I take 30 sample size, so it's a square root of 30. So it's basically third theorem. And if our sample is fully satisfied with that three theorem, so we say that yeah, it's our sample is very accurate, and we take that sample as our company prediction and make some decision from that sample. So we say that it's helpful. Now we will go with our Python notebook. So firstly we need to import our library. Then we import our file. So as you can check here, it's a huge data. There is something like 2 lakh rows and 9 columns are available. So it's a very huge data. So from that data, we make a sample, and we also check our sample is effective or not. So firstly, we check in that data there is not any outlier present in a data. If data have an outlier, so it's also affect our sampling also. So first we need check outliers. So for checking outlier, we import our Seaborn library. Then we need to import matplotlib library also. Now we check outliers with the help of boxplot. So you can see in a fair amount. So we need a numerical column for checking outliers, and data is basically our all data. So as you can see here, data have outliers, a lot of outliers present in the data. So we need to treat outliers. So as you can see, we use a IQR method here for treating outliers. So IQR method is basically interquartile range. So we need to firstly find out quarters. So first find out quarter one. Our column is basically fair amount. We need to treat outlier of our fair amount column. Then second we need to find out quarter three. So 0.25 means 25% of data we use for a find quartile 1, and quartile third is basically 75% of data. And after that I find IQR. IQR is basically quartile 3 minus quartile 1, and from that we find out upper fence and lower fence. So upper fence is basically quarter 3 plus 1.5 into IQR, and lower fence is basically quarter 1 minus 1.5 into IQR. Then after that, after finding upper fence and lower fence, I show that value upper fence and lower fence. So as you can see, it's a upper fence value and it's our lower fence value. 22.25 it's upper fence and lower fence is minus 3.75. Now we convert all the data like above 25, above upper fence, we convert that into 22, and below minus 3 we convert into minus 3. So how we can done? We done that thing with the help of log function. So we use here a log function. Then in a log we need our data, and here is fair amount. Then here we use a filtration, like if our fair amount greater than upper fence and in a particular fair amount column, and convert that into it the upper fence. So as you can see now, all that outliers is converted with upper fence like 22.25 value. Now same thing we done with lower fence, like data log, that is our column, and data is less than lower fence, so that data is converted into lower fence. Now we check again with that our graph. So as you can see here, now it's there is no outlier available in our data. So with the help of log function, we convert that our upper data, that data with upper fence, and convert that our lower data with lower fence. So it's a very effective technique to treat with outliers. Now after that we make a sampling. So firstly we use simple random sampling here. So simple random sampling. So it's our original data, and in our original data I make a sample data dot. So sample is a built-in function available in pandas, and with the help of that we make a sample. So in a sample we first need our sample size. So we make a sample of like 100 datas. So it's fulfill our first theorem, like we need to select data above 30 and equal to 30. So we select sample size 100. Second is basically random state. Random state is equal to 1. Yeah, random state is equal to 42. So random state is help to basically, if I use sampling, so sampling is basically we take a sample data from all data set, and if I use not random state there, so that sample data change automatically again and again. So random state helps to stop that changing, and that. Now we make our sample here. So first we put a name, sample data. Then in our pandas there is building function already available, sample, and in a sample I use number of columns I use, number of rows I use 100, means from, as you can see here, 22 lakh rows are available there, and from 2 lakh rows I select only 100 rows randomly. And second I use random state 42. So random state is basically help if I use sampling, so random state not change that data, and if I use not random state here, and if I again execute that sample data, so that value will change, then I again execute, then sample value again change. So random state is help to fix that our particular data. So as I execute that data, so you can see here, now there is 100 rows are available, so it's our sample data. Columns are already same 9, and in actual population data columns are same. So it's our sample data or it's our population data. Now we can check our this data is effective or not. So now we use our center limit theorem. So as you can see here, center limit theorem. So first theorem is basically said we need to take sample size greater than 30. So we take sample size here 100, and second condition is basically data should be normal distributed. So here I use Seaborn library and Dixplot. So our sample data here, and we need to check fair amount. So as you can see in a graph, it's a normally distributed, as you can see. So we can say that our first condition is fulfilling. So here I done our second theorem. I mentioned it heading also. Then we need to find out population mean, median, and standard deviation, skewness and kurtosis of this data first. Then we need to calculate same thing of sample data also. So first I calculated our population mean. Population mean is also set at mu. So mu is equal to, it's our all data set, and we need a fair amount column. So it's our fair amount column. Then we use mean here. Mean is already built-in function available in pandas library. Then we need second calculated median of population. Same column I use here also, just I change here median. Third we need standard deviation of population. Same column I use here also, and I change it median with standard deviation. Then third we need our skewness of population data is equal to, same column I use here. Then skewness built-in function is already available with pandas library. Then last one we need a kurtosis. Population data is equal to, okay, so we find all that thing. Then we need to print that, print our new, print median, standard deviation, skewness, print kurtosis. So as you can see here, our mean is basically 10, median 8.5, standard deviation 5, skewness and kurtosis 1 and 0. So skewness and kurtosis is always near to 0 and 1. So it is correct data. Then we need to check, same thing we need to check with our sample data also. So I copy all that thing. And so our sample data, here is name, sample data. I copied it and I pasted instead of all data, I mentioned it here, sample data. Then instead of mu in a sample data, we also call that thing as a mean as a x bar. Then it's a median of sample, standard deviation of sample data, skewness of sample data, kurtosis of sample data. Then we need to print that also. So instead of mu, it's a x bar, it's a median sample, it's a standard deviation sample, skewness sample, and kurtosis sample. Then as you can see here, our mean is approx equal to our population mean. Our median is approx equal to our population mean. And our, as you can see here, it's a standard deviation. Standard deviation of population data, it's approx equal with standard deviation of sample data. And skewness and kurtosis both are near to 0. So we can say that our second condition is totally fulfilled here. So as you can see, it's our second condition and it is totally fulfilled here. Mean and population mean and sample mean is approx equal. Then we go with our third condition. So I mentioned that third theorem. So third theorem is basically said our sample standard deviation is equal to population standard deviation divided by square root of number of sample data. So we need our sample standard deviation is equal to, so we need to first our population standard deviation. It's our all data, we need fair amount here, and we need to calculate standard deviation. So it's our population standard deviation. So I mentioned that here. Then we need a square root. For a square root, we import math library. And so it's a population standard deviation divided by math dot square root. In the math function, we have a built-in function available, square root. Square root of number of element, as you can see, n. So n is our basically sample size is 100. So we put our sample size. So it's basically 0.54, as you can see. It's a sample standard deviation. So it's basically, if I calculate it, if I create many samples, so here I calculate only one sample with, as you can see here, n is equal to 100, and I created only one sample. And we also created many samples, like if I remove that random state, then we have a different sample of 100. Then we calculate all mean of that and standard deviation of that are equal to our this sample standard deviation. So it's our third condition of theorem. So we can say that our sample, we create that sample, is more effective with our original sample because it's fulfill our all three central limit theorem. So this video is completed. Now in next video we'll done with our second as well as systematic sampling. So in our next video we'll done with systematic sampling. So thank you for that. Thank you.